Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, we've got a really fascinating journey ahead of us today. We're going to be diving into a beautifully structured, incredibly complex spiritual framework. We are unpacking a profound philosophical map detailed in our source text, one that guides a practitioner on this epic quest to uncover a hidden inner treasure known as Simrayong. But it doesn't just stop there. Today, we're going to trace the exact path of resolving cosmic grievances, what's known as Haewon, heading towards a great fortune called Mugukdaeun, and finally figuring out the profound meaning behind what the text calls the 50,000-year glorious world. I'll be your impartial guide as we demystify exactly what all these concepts mean, step by step, looking entirely through the lens of our source material.
So, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to start with the ultimate treasure, Simrayong. Next, we'll look at the cosmic problem of resentment and Mugukdaeun. Then we'll map out the methods to actually find Simrayong, cover universal work and Haewon, and wrap it all up with the 50,000-year glorious world.
All right, let's jump right into part one, the ultimate treasure, Simrayong.
The text establishes this fundamental, really intriguing premise. There is a vast, unseen reality operating just beyond our normal, everyday perception. According to the source, most of us are just walking around using our physical eye. And that eye, it only sees material things, basic human interactions. It's kind of limited, a bit blurry when it comes to the big picture. But the text describes a progression. When wisdom is awakened, your wisdom eye opens. And when you finally connect with the divine realms, the divine eye opens up, letting a person see both the physical and the spiritual dimensions. But expanding your perception like that, it requires unlocking something buried deep inside us.
And that brings us to Simrayong. The text defines Simrayong as the absolute, ultimate inner treasure. It's your profound spirit, your true mind. The source text actually uses this wonderful analogy here, comparing a fully awakened Simrayong to a mythical goblins club from those old childhood fairy tales, a magical tool that essentially grants wishes and gives you boundless capabilities. When Simrayong is unlocked, the text claims you achieve this profound spiritual connection with the universe. You can communicate with the divine realms, understand the very order of all things. It's the ultimate goal. But as you can probably guess, finding a treasure like that isn't exactly easy.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 2, Resentment and Mugukdaeun.
Think about it. If this treasure is so incredible, why has it been lost for so long? Well, the source text lays out a deeply tragic history of humanity. Because people just couldn't find their Simrayong, they ended up wasting their lives. They searched in mountains, they hid in caves, they read endless piles of books, and eventually, they just gave up. They compromised with a really superficial world. This historical, collective failure led to a lot of unfulfilled desires. Over thousands of years, all this frustration bred what the text calls won, deep resentment and grievances. And this accumulated resentment literally created a massive spiritual blockage across the entire cosmos, filling the world with negative energy and causing humanity to just blame the heavens for their pain.
So humanity is stuck. We couldn't fix this massive crisis on our own. Enter the cosmic solution, Mugukdaeun, or the Great Fortune. Because the universe was utterly overflowing with all this human resentment, it required a staggering scale of divine intervention. The text states that the Supreme Being, referred to as Sangjanim, actually descended to Earth to initiate this Mugukdaeun. The whole purpose of this great fortune is to finally clear away these millennia-old spiritual blockages and blast open the pathway for humanity to once again find their inner treasure, their Simrayong. And as we'll see, finding that treasure is exactly what clears the path forward.
The text actually celebrates this massive turning point, declaring it is fortunate that there is a boundless great Tao in this world. This arrival of Mugukdaeun is described as an incredibly rare cosmic opportunity. The speaker in the source material beautifully compares this era to autumn. Just as fruit naturally ripens on a tree in autumn simply by staying attached to the branch and taking in the season's energy, practitioners can achieve spiritual evolution in this era just by aligning themselves with this newly opened cosmic pathway. It's a pretty powerful image.
Okay, part 3, Methods to find Simrayong.
So, the pathway is open, right? But how do you actually walk it? Let's shift gears to the practical methodology outlined in the text, the literal map required to uncover this hidden treasure inside yourself. The doctrine breaks the practice down into 2 highly specific sequential steps. Step 1, you must correct your mind's energy. Step 2, you must establish righteousness. You can't just go sit cross-legged in a cave, close your eyes, and magically hope to find enlightenment. The text insists that finding your Simrayong requires active, conscious management of how you think and how you treat other people.
And this brilliantly illustrates why correcting the mind's energy has to be step one. The text compares the human mind to water. When you're driven by greed, material desires, jealousy, your mind is agitated. It's like turbulent, murky water. You can't see a thing. Your ultimate treasure, your Simrayong, is sitting right there at the bottom, but the mud of your own greed completely obscures it. But if you let go of that material greed, the water finally calms down. It becomes like a bright, clear mirror where the deep depths are fully visible, allowing you to finally see and grab hold of your inner treasure.
Now, to actually achieve that clear, mirror-like mind, the text prescribes establishing righteousness through some very specific moral guidelines. They call these the Hun Ho. These include things like maintaining virtuous speech, not holding grudges, maintaining loyalty, and, this is a big one, actively helping others succeed. By doing good deeds for others, you are actively pushing out your own selfish desires. According to the text, these aren't just, polite suggestions to be a nice person. They are the absolute foundational steps required to calm that murky water in your mind.
But among all these guidelines, the text emphasizes one above all the others, Mujagi, which means non-self-deception. The essence of the Tao is non-self-deception. The source is incredibly direct here. It insists that lying, cheating, or going against your own conscience is literally the fastest way to completely bury your ultimate treasure. If you deceive your own mind, the text argues, finding your Simrayong becomes absolutely impossible. No way around it.
All right, moving right along to Part 4, Universal Work and Haewon.
So, let's assume a practitioner follows this map, calms their mind, and actually uncovers their Simrayong. What happens next? You might think, awesome, I found the ultimate inner treasure. Time to get rich and live in luxury. Actually, scratch that. The text states the exact opposite happens. When Simrayong is truly unlocked, the individual experiences this profound paradigm shift. They realize their spiritual power is fundamentally designed for Chanhasa, which translates to universal work. All that desire for personal fame or wealth, it just vanishes. The practitioner realizes that this divine instrument is meant strictly to serve the cosmos and benefit the greater world, in total alignment with the will of the universe.
In this paradigm shift reveals the text's incredibly unique definition of Haewon. True Haewon, the genuine resolution of millennia of cosmic grievances, doesn't come from suddenly getting rich or landing a powerful job to make up for your past suffering. It's an active path. By uncovering your Simrayong and dedicating yourself entirely to universal work, you walk the path of Haewon that aligns perfectly with that cosmic turning point we talked about, Muguk Daeon. This spiritual enlightenment and unity with the universe is what permanently clears those deep spiritual blockages. This is it, the ultimate cosmic resolution.
And that profound resolution takes us directly to our final destination, Part 5, the 50,000-year glorious world.
When practitioners successfully find their Simrai, resolve their resentments through the path of Haewon, and dedicate themselves to universal work, the result outlined in the doctrine is the dawn of the 50,000-year glorious world. This is the whole point, the ultimate meaning of this entire journey. It is described as a boundless, joyful paradise, a realm guided by the absolute highest universal principles, populated by enlightened individuals working harmoniously, completely free from the selfishness, the greed, and the resentment that plagued literally all previous eras.
But wait, the text offers one final, really solemn directive for anyone approaching this massive cosmic transition. You cannot enter this new era recklessly. You must live with utmost sincerity, utmost reverence, and utmost faith. In the source text, this concept is called Sungyeongchin. Because the practitioner is dealing with the absolute ultimate laws of the universe, they have to remain grounded, solemn, and deeply respectful, casting aside any lingering arrogance or frivolous behavior as this entire new world opens up to them.
We've traversed an incredible map today, tracing the path from a mind clouded by greed, through finding Simrayong, walking the path of Haewon, stepping into the cosmic fortune of Muguk Daeon, and finally arriving at the profound meaning of the 50,000-year glorious world. But, it all hinges on that one crucial realization we discussed. True power isn't for the self. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought based on today's explainer. If you manage to clear the murky waters of your mind and actually unlock your ultimate inner treasure, would you try to use it for personal glory, or would you use it for the world? Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through the source material. And as always, keep questioning the unseen.